everybody, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and sorry about the delays on all the videos, but weather's been kind of off and been awful busy at the home front and everything, so it's been kind of hard to make some. But anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and ride Reba here and talk about the 1-year anniversary of having this bike, the Harley 1200T Super Low Sportster. And I've actually just come up on the first year of actually owning her, about 5,000 miles ridden. So it's been through a couple of maintenance cycles and a couple other things. So, just wanted to go over, what it's been like to have it for a full year. And I have to say, I haven't been disappointed by this bike whatsoever. This bike has been really good. It's never really had any faults except for very early in its life when it had some strange oiling issues and things like that were resolved by the dealership with no problem or anything like that, taken care of by warranty. And about 7 months ago, when we first had our cold snap, when it dipped real low, kind of revealed the battery had a bad cell in it, so it crashed it out, and they repaired that also under warranty. So no big major thing since then. It's constantly never left me stranded or anything like that. Even when the battery was going dead, for some odd reason, like I said, it basically just, could tell it was going through a long start process and kind of drug the starter a little bit, so you kind of knew the battery was at fault on that. So that's why I wasn't too concerned with it. It actually got me to the dealership, dropped it off. They had the battery fixed in like 15 minutes and had me on my way because they figured out real fast that's all it was. So once again, like I said, the only maintenance issues that I ever had with it was those particular two things. The other part about it, kind of like on these days like today, it's, June 9th right now, and it's 92 degrees with stupid mats of humidity. So, riding this bike in the summer, and that's what I did all through last summer and all through this so far. And, when it comes down to riding in the city, still kind of preferred having the liquid cooled bikes. They do run a lot cooler. You don't have to worry about it burning your leg off or anything like that if you sit too long at a stoplight or the bike actually overheating itself. But so far, this one hasn't had a problem like my 883 did. I think the 883 had something else with it where it did like to try to overheat in the city, but it had a stock setup on the fuel pack and things like that. So because of that, I think it was running leaner, running hotter, and it just didn't like sitting around so much that it actually did get hot enough where I had to shut it down and sit on the side of the road for a moment. So I kind of fault that. This one's had some changes to it, so the fuel's running a little bit richer, things like that, so no biggie. Before I did any changes to the pipes or performance or anything like that, I was getting somewhere about 45 miles per gallon or so, mixed driving up to 55 roughly on the highway, and maybe 41, 42 in the city, somewhere in there. And that's before I made any modifications. After the modifications, this bike has seen some change in its fueling and things like that. Like I said, I've added some performance kits and things like that. It's been stage 1, so it's producing more power. So now in the city, on average, and this is after several hundreds of miles, even thousands of miles with the stuff installed, it does about 38 in the city unless I'm stupid. I can get it down to as low as 32. I've had a tank where I was just racing around everywhere, it seemed like, because it was fun to have all the stuff installed and I was playing with the power, loved it, and chewed through my gas pretty quick. Still gets up to 51 on the highway, not too bad if it's just straight highway, and roughly 43 in the mix. So if you stage 1 it, just make sure, and you put pipes on it, make sure you buy like a fuel pack like what I've got from Vance and Hines, so that way you can change the fueling and stuff like that, and so it actually does it correctly, and that'll help you out if you buy a Sportster. In terms of the fit and finish after a full year and roughly 5,000 miles, I have no problems with it. Nothing's vibrated off this bike. One thing, the only thing that kind of got loose with the mirrors here, they did get a little bit loose over some time, but as soon as I reset them only once, it was fine. They never vibrated off. Nothing else has vibrated off either. The bolts all stayed in place. Everything's good to go. The fit and finish is just as good. The chrome is just as bright. There's no flaking. There's no problem there. The brakes and everything work fantastically still. Engine braking still just as great as the day it came off the line and everything like that. So I've been really happy with this purchase of the Sportster. I know a lot of people in the comments and stuff has talked about, you know, how can the Triumph and this bike be so far apart? And part of it is because I do have those kits on here and stuff like that. This thing can flat foot outrun the Triumph, and don't get me wrong, Triumph is a great bike. Old Roxy I've got, I love her to death. I ride her quite a bit. In fact, on Saturday I was on her for about 4 hours. Didn't even care about the heat that we were going through. Just enjoyed the ride because she's so comfortable, so great for the out-of-town kind of rides like we did. And you know, that's just the wonderful part of it. But this bike, that's not what this bike is for. This bike is a light tourer. It does have the bags, it does have things like that, but in all honesty, it's still more of the city kind of cruiser. It's great to take around the city and have some storage space for stuff you buy at the store and things like that, and you can take home, so you don't have to take a vehicle with you if it's small enough. You know, stuff like that. But I mean, the nimbleness this bike has, the acceleration to get away from traffic, the way it can go in and out of traffic is so much faster than the Triumph, you know, in terms of the nimbleness and everything like that. Yeah, sure, the Triumph has a better lean angle and stuff like that in the corners, but it's a little bit longer, a little bit slower, so it doesn't get that push off like it should. Hello, buddy. That is the most random hiding position I've ever seen for them. Anyway, when it comes down to it though, like I said, there's no qualms with the Harley-Davidson Sportster. I've been very satisfied with it, and I would never trade her for the world. In fact, this bike will be one that I continue to own and restore, and if anything happens to the engine, I'll rebuild it. Things like that. I'm going to keep this one for the long haul because it's been special to me. It's the first bike that really both my wife and I have enjoyed together. She actually can ride it a little bit here and there. The only thing she doesn't like about it is the power, because she can just barely twist it and it flies off on her and things like that because she's so light, and she just doesn't feel she can control it, you know, 100% of the time. But she does enjoy riding it when she gets to, just because it does make her feel a lot more how do you put it, in control of the road. Because I mean, this bike, you could do anything on it. I mean, it'll do 0 to 60 in no time. It'll get around people. It has passing power in 2-lane highways or interstate speeds at all times. I mean, it pulls from every gear. Never had a problem with anything like that. Transmission's still tight. You know, all the throttle cables, I've had to do some adjustments on them because they've stretched over the time, but that's normal. The clutch cable I actually hadn't had to do anything to. It's one of the cables that it's just been fine. No difference in the clutch. The only thing I did when I first got the bike was I set it to be a little bit closer to the handle in terms of its response. But after that, I've done nothing to the clutch. There's no reason to. It hasn't lightened itself up. Now on the chain adjustments and stuff like that on the primary, I haven't had to do that yet. It stayed fine. The first maintenance check I did, it's actually really easy to do maintenance on this bike, so if you are thinking about getting one, don't mind doing the maintenance yourself. I mean, the lube points are real easy to get to whenever it's time for it. To drain the primary case, it's real easy to do. It has a single drain plug. And to drain the oil, it's just a tube that goes kind of under the seat and back to the frame. You just pull that out, pull the little wire or little hose clamp off of it, pull the little plastic tube out of it, and you're good to go. So go ahead, buddy. You know, it's just one of those things that real easy to maintain, real easy to lube, real easy to work on this bike. That's what I love about it. It's just so user friendly. And that's what, you know, kind of defines Harley versus even the Japanese bikes and stuff like that. The Ninja I had, it was simple and straightforward too, but you had to take off the plastic bits and the fairing and everything like that just to get to stuff. With on this bike, everything is just honest simplicity. The oil filter being right here on the front left side, just right there in the open. The, you know, tube being so easy to access. The, you know, primary and everything easy to drain. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit of a pain to get some of the fluid into the primary, but other than that, it's not bad at all. The maintenance doesn't take very long. Takes me about 30 minutes to do the full oil change, and maybe an additional 15 minutes to lube up the points, like the clutch cabling and stuff like that. You know, just make sure all the lube is good on it and everything. And then brake pads and everything, they've held out very well. 5,000 miles on them and don't need to be changed. They still have well over halfway on the wear. And oh, he's flying Little Joe. That's kind of cool. So anyway, you know, when it comes down to this bike, if you're gonna buy one, I still recommend this bike after 1 year. I still love this bike. This is still my primary bike. Yeah, like I said, the Triumph is great, but it's just not as fun. It just doesn't seem to have the soul or the character that this Harley has, and that I've come to love about it. Oh, I hate this road. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog. If you have any other questions or comments, let me know, and I'll try to get back with you and answer those questions or comments in a video or just on the user forums below. I will be going to Oklahoma, Honda, and Suzuki this weekend. Hopefully there's no rain. They're putting some rain in the forecast now, but they're going to have the Suzuki Demo Days. I plan on taking out a couple of the smaller bikes because my wife's looking for her very own, the one that she can ride every day and never be worried about. So I'm hoping to capture the S40, you know, just a small little 652 single cylinder cruiser, and also maybe a couple other bikes if you guys have some suggestions. They should have just about everything out, so I'll try to catch something for you guys. Just let me know what you want me to ride. Keep the shiny side up, and we'll see you later.